Did you call him Nick Leary?
I said Dennis Leary.
Oh.
See, you're the one that's now saying I basically am Dennis Leary.
I mean,
You do have a droll vibe, though, like Dennis Leary.
What's that?
I said he has a droll vibe like Dennis Leary, like he has a real smug attitude and disdain for authority.
Certain smugness about me, eh?
Yeah, I think so.
It's dripping with it.
All right, so today on the podcast, I pressed live, by the way, so we're doing this.
Right.
Today on the, we're on it. Today on the podcast, we're talking about Demolition Man. Came out in, what year did that come out? 1993, set in 1996, and then we jump forward to 2032. Starring Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, all the best actors of the 90s. Let's not talk about it, guys. Let's just get into it,
Let's do it.
Do it. Why wait?
Cameron, well, you have the notes, so let's what was your first note that you have?
My first note is unintelligible. Oh.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah. Well, I've warned you before this. The first thing I wrote is he's dressed like Guile in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
On the beginning of that note.
But, it's just a
thing. Yeah. They're very, militant, fashion sense for a cop,
Yeah.
Well, that was
he could have been leading a coup or something.
What's weird is that in the 1996, they are very militaristic, but then they also are in the 2000s when it's a utopian society. You think they would have softened their look up a bit because it's a little threatening, But no, they just kept going with that military vibe.
So his whole deal is that he is the Demolition Man. He causes mayhem in order to. He's sort of Machiavellian, whatever means necessary to get the job.
I don't know that's what Machiavellian means, bro.
No, Machiavellian is the ends justifies the means, right?
No.
Yes.
I get into a weird.
Machiavellian is when you're control, you manipulate someone and you have big grand plots and stuff.
Who came up with the end justifies the means then?
I don't know. I mean, that was Machiavelli, but that's not what the phrase Machiavellian means.
Who would have thought that the movie Demolition Man got us here?
Yeah, I don't know. But while we're talking philosophy, no, I don't know. Well, that's how I've always used it, but I guess I'm wrong.
I mean, you might be right. I might be wrong, but I'm just saying that's not what I've ever heard it used as.
Anyway, so he wrecks things. Over to you, Ryan.
Don't be weird about it, Nick. Just because you got told that you were wrong.
No. I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. I derailed you. My bad. I caused a real demolition there in that conversation. There's a Machiavellian plot. The end justified the means.
There is part of the Demolition Man theme song that says he demolishes conversation.
Does he?
Yeah. If you stand by.
He does in the movie a lot because he has a real short temper. The Demolition Man. He'll be like, "Oh, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that."
Right.
He has a real disdain for authority.
I think that was more his motivation to get toilet paper.
So Sting, as everybody already knows, Sting wrote the theme song for Demolition Man. And
Sting also, by the way, provided the haircut for Wesley Snipes' character. He was like, just give him what I got, and then we'll be good.
So he did actually say, I'm a walking nightmare, an arsenal of doom. I kill conversation as I walk into the room. Demolition.
It all rhymes,
demolition.
checks out.
Yeah.
Sting, everybody.
You good?
Yeah.
So what are your favorite part of this movie? Because we've all seen this before. Some of us lots of times, right?
I've seen it a lot. I've famously seen it a lot. Pretty much the foremost Demolition Man expert here today.
What's your favorite part of this movie? What do you think is the part that when you think of Demolition Man,
Probably like all the stuff with like the 3 seashells and the swearing thing that gives you the tickets, like, you know.
So I've seen it a lot, and I don't remember any of that. Like
Really?
when I think about it, yeah,
That's one of the few things I remembered very distinctly about this movie.
the three seashells. I can't even say it. The 3 seashells. Like that never registered on my radar as like a thing in this movie. Mainly, what I always remembered was the Taco Bell scene because that was fire.
Hold up, Nick was obsessed with 3 seashells. I just imagine like a young Nick at home, with a few seashells in the bathroom, just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, those seashells got lodged into my ass. I was just trying to figure out how it would work, and then you're too young to realize like, oh, it's just totally made up. Like,
I would imagine it's like a situation like Chopsticks, but like with 2 little scoopers for shit.
There's like a little.
Then what's the third one for?
There's you like clean up the excess.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick. You don't know how to use the 3 seashells after all this time.
Apparently not.
Nick, you blithery idiot. That's how they treat the Demolition Man in this movie whenever he asks any legitimate question. Like, they pluck him 36 years into the future, and they act like he's an asshole because he doesn't know how their customs are. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, so the thing I want to talk about, the thing that
they would. Can I just say they would never treat the Encino Man like that?
No way.
Instead, they told him how to use the juice.
The thing I didn't kind of pick up on as a kid is when he's first thought out, and they tell him like, "Your wife's dead," like, and then he's talking about it, and the guy's like, "Enough of that."
And he's like, "Oh, you're right. Enough of that, then."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It takes him only that scene to deal with his wife's death. It takes him kind of a little bit of another scene to kind of process, like, oh, his daughter's still alive.
Yeah.
But there's no sense trying to look for her or contact her. Like, no way.
No interest in checking her out. See what she's up to.
He just wants to bang Sandra Bullock, eat a hamburger, and just like fucking chill with Dennis Leary. You know, he's like, my daughter. He's like, my daughter can wait. You know, I've been frozen a long time.
Well, I think like when you're younger, and this is something that I had thought about, was like when you're younger, your brain just processes this movie differently. Like now that we're older, you think about if you had a wife, if you had a kid, and like suddenly they're dead, like you would as an adult think, wow, that's fucked up. But as a kid, you'd be like, yeah, who cares? Like, where do we get to start punching things and driving cars? You know?
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one.
It's like I was saying, when I was younger, when I was seeing this movie, I always like I was much more interested in like what Wesley Snipes and like Sylvester Stallone were up to.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm much more interested in like what Benjamin Bratt and like Sandra Bullock or like what their lives are like. Like I really like. In fact, I the worst part about this movie to me now is that I have to watch like the Demolition Man demolish this perfect future.
Yeah, it's a very like thumb in the nose kind of, or whatever the expression is, to like liberal ideology or something from the 90s.
Yeah, well, it's like really like saying like, oh, the nanny state. If we let them take over and tell us what was bad for us and how we shouldn't smoke cigarettes and like do this shit, then like they're like, look, what are we? Are we even living at that point? But the answer is actually, pretty good.
Yeah, it seemed pretty
like
good.
All the cars are self-driving and like
Pizza Hut had a massive upgrade.
That's true.
Yeah, things are pretty chill.
Pizza Hut.
So speaking of Pizza Hut, speaking of that, if you watch this movie, anybody who might happen to be watching this out there, if you watch this movie and you remember it being Taco Bell, that's because you were watching it in the States. Because outside the States, internationally, like nobody knows really what Taco Bell is, or at least they didn't in the 90s. So they had to replace it all with Pizza Hut, right, Nick? Like that's how you experienced it.
Yeah, it's weird because like thinking back on this movie, I remembered Taco Bell, but I think that was just from people talking about it because we don't have Taco Bell. So it makes sense that they substituted that out for Pizza Hut. Because we probably wouldn't have known what that was. I'm sure we still probably would have got it though. It seems like a lot of work to change that out.
Right, I was gonna say, like, how much does that cost them extra to like just like overlay the logos and
not much. I mean, all they really did was the logo, right? Like, was there actually any dialogue where they specifically like talk about Taco Bell?
I think
isn't Sandra Bullock saying like, "Oh, all the restaurants are Taco Bell"?
Or Pizza Hut. So that would probably be more of a pain than changing out just the graphic on the sign. That would be pretty easy, actually.
Yeah.
Well, it was like 1993 or something, right? So I don't know.
Just redub a couple lines. They're not stupid.
I mean, they managed to make Terminator 2 around that time. I'm sure they can handle it.
They had that technology.
Yeah. Let's get James Cameron on the phone. Jimmy. Just get Jim on the phone. Jim, we've got a Taco Bell situation. He's like, I'll be on the next flight.
If you in a perfect world like this one, if you could either eat at Taco Bell only exclusively or Pizza Hut only exclusively, what would you choose?
Well, apparently, considering you can just slap a different sign on it, there's not really much difference.
Well, you get what I'm saying. That's a tricky one. I've only ever had.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, you go. Sorry.
No,
you go.
Go ahead. I was just going to say Tamara in the future. Oh, fucking hell.
Ramon, you go.
Okay, I was going to say Tamara. Tamara. I was going to say if you chose Pizza Hut, there would be no salsa in this future. That's why I was saying, Nick, you go, because it really was inconsequential. And I felt like you were going somewhere.
You're like on some premise that Taco Bell has salsa? Like, if it does, it's worth a shit?
Yeah, but in this far futuristic one, all the pizzas like advanced.
You know? I don't understand what that food was. It was just like weird little portions of something. Like it was just like.
I'm sure it tasted fucking delicious.
Well, you know, I mean, I can't really answer that. I don't have enough information to answer this question. You know.
Just based on what you know of Taco Bell and what you know of Pizza Hut, what would it be?
Well, I mean, they're both pretty bad, but. I guess
pizzas or tacos.
Take this.
I feel like I'd have to go Taco Bell, not because I don't know. This isn't a future I want to live.
Nick, what about you?
Well, see, for me, it's a bit harder because we don't have Taco Bell, so I've had it maybe twice in my life, and that's just whenever I go to the States. It always seems like a novelty. So for me, that seems like a way more exciting choice. But to Americans, you'd probably be like, that food's trash, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I just ate Del Taco earlier today. That's not quite Taco Bell. It's a little bit better, but it's delicious. I would definitely choose that over like Pizza Hut all day.
So,
plus, Taco Bell has the chalupa.
Okay, here's a further question. Would you? Okay, so before I answer definitively, I want to get a little bit more information. Would you be able to make other foods based out of the ingredients that they have at either restaurant, or do you have to eat off menu? Like only off the menu.
I don't even know what that means. What are you saying?
Like, could you, if you chose Pizza Hut, could you make other things out of like the ingredients they have, or would you just have to get like a pepperoni pizza?
No, you can get like a pizzone. You could get like.
So you can make your own food, but with their stuff.
Yeah.
I thought the premise was just this is the only restaurant we can go to, not like this is the only food literally we can ever eat.
Here's the thing, Tamara. Currently, we're in 2016, so we're some point in the midpoint between the transition. So at some point, like now, we'd be switching over to only one restaurant, and theoretically, in my question, we'd be in the beginning evolution stages, the early evolutionary stages of the perfect one restaurant. So,
do you think
you have to imagine that there's more choices than what you understand there to currently be.
Do you think if Trump gets in, he'll make it a KFC only system? Because we know how much he likes that.
Well, we already know that Trump likes the Taco Bowl, so
that's true.
I think he would lean Taco Bell if anything.
Okay, good to know.
Another thing about this movie that really stuck out to me is like Wesley Snipes in this movie is like a huge dork, and I used to think he was real cool. I used to think his haircut was
like
awesome.
A Cabbage Patch Kid.
He's dressed like a toddler throughout this movie.
He's dressed like Michelle Tanner a lot of this movie.
He's first dressed like a toddler, and then he's dressed like a dirt bike.
But like the other thing about it though is like not only is he dressed like Michelle Tanner, but he has a lot of like her same one-liners. Like that's exclusively all he speaks in. Like he's borderline Urkel in this fucking thing with his fucking catchphrases. And like as a kid, it didn't register at all. Like I was like, oh man, he's so cool. He's so funny. He's so violent. He's a badass. Now I'm like, oh god, he's on the screen. I need to get him off. Like, where's Sandra Bullock? Where's Benjamin Bratt? I didn't like him at all, not one bit.
Yeah.
Like when he kills that guy and says, "Did I do that?"
Simon says, "Did I do that?"
It seemed like you were into him at first, and then it was like a slow build up to like realizing what he was in this movie.
It was like the nostalgia that front loaded my enjoyment of him.
Yeah, my memory was that he was cool as well, and then I was like, "Oh wait, he isn't."
Yeah.
Yeah. In my head, he was as cool as the cryogenic chamber that he came out of.
Whoa, nice.
But then, now I realize, nope, he's not.
Yeah.
He certainly is not.
You know what let me down even more than the Wesley Snipes, like, being lame?
What's that?
Is the hacking in this movie was really, really trash. Like, Wesley Snipes' hacking was great, but everybody else's sucked. Like,
this is 93, so this is like pre-hackers. This is like proto-hacking in movies.
We hadn't hacked the planet quite yet, but the only hacking that the good guys, quote unquote, like the underground dwellers, like the Dennis Leary camp, the only hacking they do in the entire movie is the very beginning, where they spray paint "Life is Hell" on the sign. And it immediately gets washed over by like.
Here's the thing: you're underplaying this like considerably. You say they sprayed it on there and it got washed off. That's not what happened at all. What they had is they had a robot thing come out of the ground, like just like splatter paint on a thing that was like a perfect graffiti thing on the sign, and then the sign like lasered it off like immediately. It's like an arms race of like graffiti and like cleaning the graffiti in this future world.
But they hacked the graffiti, right? That wasn't like a machine they put underground. They hacked the system to spray
Sure,
paint.
I just think it was more impressive than you were letting on.
But it's a pretty whack use of the hacking. Like, there's so many more things they could have done.
The results were terrible and pointless because the sign just immediately like lasered it off. But
Yeah, so that was bad hacking. On a scale of 1 to 7 hacking, I'm gonna give them like a 3 because they were successful, but it wasn't cool. I could even go 2.
Wait, you think that they would be experienced enough to know, like, hey, if we spray paint this, it's going to get that robot things there to wash it off? Like, they seem like they know how things run.
Maybe that was like a new development. Like, they'd been doing this for a while, and finally they developed like sign technology to just like immediately undo their work.
Right.
It just seemed pointless.
It was a very odd thing to just throw in there, and then like never have any similar thing again.
The only time they ever bring that little sequence up again is when in a very cool hacking move, Wesley Snipes is like at like this weird like a kiosk that they have to make people feel good about themselves, and he's like attacking the cops, and one of the cops is like up against the sign, and he uses like the laser clean thing to kill the guy. But that was like real brief, and like it didn't matter at all. But it was like that was a cool hacking move. So I guess Wesley Snipes hacking would be like a solid 5.
Despite the
successful, but he's not hacking the world or anything.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't a righteous hack.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. But yeah, no, Wesley Snipes in this movie like knows how to use every gun from the future. Well, not he doesn't know how to use the future gun, but he can use all like machines, right?
Yeah,
well, he had to get like
when he's cryogenically frozen, they do like a rehabilitation thing where they teach them skills while they're cryogenically frozen. And John Spartan, Sylvester Stallone, greatest name ever.
Because he's so destructive.
Well, John Spartan and John Matrix, I think they're tied for first. But yeah, he learned.
What's John Matrix from?
Commando. He learned sewing and stuff, and then Simon Phoenix, also a great name. He learned like basically like hacking and like firearm stuff and
car driving.
Yeah, and just like wearing overalls and just cool hair.
See, now his problem was that he didn't get that seamstress skill, because if he did, he probably would have been able to make himself some better clothes and definitely made himself some better rubber armor in the end.
Yeah.
That was one of the weirder touches, that rubber armor that they all wore, like the bad guys.
And like people were still using guns, like there's a comment when John Spartan's like, "Oh, it's the future. Where are the laser guns?" And like, yeah, he gets that cool gun later, but like for the most part, it's just guns and stuff like that. But they're just wearing like tires and stuff like that,
Well, I think that would be because like the laser guns were like real like high. I said that was the last one manufactured. They probably, didn't manufacture a ton, But the other guns, they're so awash in this country that they probably just had tons left over.
Like it was a brief window of those laser guns, considering like we just became like this perfectly peaceful society.
Yeah, here's the thing: the society in this movie checks out. Like I would want to live there, and it does seem to make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
which is like it is the opposite of what the movie wants us to think about them, right?
Yeah, I think like it's not an ideal future. Like it's not perfect, but
it's pretty great.
Dying, like they're kind of like they're all nerds and shit, but like it's not really like. Not like threatening, Like if that's the worst thing the future has to offer, if that's what the liberal like PC police, like they're almost literally PC police in this movie, like that, it's not so bad.
No, not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean that's where they kind of run into problems, like story wise, because it is a good idea that like the police in the future, it's like they're not used to dealing with anything too hectic, and it's like all PC. So when Simon Phoenix comes back, literally the only person that can stop him is someone from Simon Phoenix's time, which is John Spartan. They're not ready for it anymore, and that's great story wise. But then it's like, they have this whole political thing about how Dennis Leary like thinks their whole system is fucked. But like you guys are saying, like, is it really though? Like, it seems okay.
No, it's pretty good.
Nice. I mean, not bad.
But the idea is like.
I like toilet paper. I like cursing, but like there's no murder. Well,
I think the idea of them is like Dennis Leary thinks they're all brainwashed. They're the sheeple.
Yeah.
Dennis Leary is like a YouTube atheist who's just like talking about free will and all this bullshit.
We should have.
It's not that serious,
Yeah. But that's what Sylvester Stallone's like role in this movie is to like bring balance back to the world, like something like you guys go a little bit far with your whatever with your tire wearing and your and you're a little silly with their like anti-profanity and like VR sex. It's like, why don't we just like meet in the middle?
So here's a little fact about this movie. Hungarian science fiction writer István Nemir says that most of Demolition Man is based on his novel Fight of the Dead, published in 1986. In the novel, a terrorist and his enemy, a counterterrorism soldier, are cryogenically frozen and awaken in the 22nd century to find violence has been purged from society. That sounds pretty close.
Yeah.
Apparently, he chose not to file a lawsuit as it would have been too expensive to hire a lawyer and fight Hollywood.
Yeah.
But he claimed that many Eastern European writers were plagiarized by Hollywood, and he claims he knows the person responsible for selling the ideas to filmmakers. But yeah, he's a kook. This movie, yeah. Also, a little fact about this movie, a little factoid, is Elliot Goldenthal composed the score for the movie, which I think was awesome because it reminded me a lot of like Batman Forever, like that whole like real big vibe. But that guy, his first big Hollywood project was Alien 3, and it was this one, which makes a lot of sense. Because Alien 3 was kind of trash.
Yeah.
What's he done lately?
But it had cool music, though. What's he done lately?
Is he still doing stuff? Or?
Let's find out.
Yeah,
Elliot Goldenthal. Oh shit, he did the score for Frida. Apparently he works with Julie Taymor a lot. He also did Interview with a Vampire, The Vampire Chronicles. He's still working. Nick. He did Heat. He did. Whoa.
Interesting.
Oh, he also did Batman Forever.
Oh, there you
No
go.
one sounded so familiar.
It's all come together. So I'm glad we did this extra piece of research.
Yeah.
It's all coming together. Because, like, I literally said, yo, this feels exactly like Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, which he did both of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my thing was just that there was a frame where Sylvester Stallone looked like Al Pacino in Heat.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch, but
Your theories coming together.
I just like to bring Heat into the conversation whenever possible.
And Nick's always bringing the heat.
Yeah, while we're talking about Heat, actually, not that we are, but there was a thing where, like, Michael Mann started, he's the director of Heat. He started a publishing company, and the first book that they're doing is a prequel to Heat. It was like a screenplay that he wrote that like didn't get made.
So
yeah, pretty excited about that.
So, but wait, is this going to be like a book?
Yeah, it's a book because it was a screenplay, but
why is he
nothing
just
kind of
make it a
happened with
movie
it.
instead? I feel like he probably has the pull.
A bit more complicated than that, I'm sure.
Just get the next Pacino and the next De Niro to act their asses off, you know?
Who do you think that would be? Like Dan Franco or something?
Oh, you
Dave
think
Franco.
like Dave Franco and Zac Efron for sure, dog.
They don't even act the roles. Just
That'd
get
be fire.
old men, you know?
Yeah.
Computer them
Pacino's
like
still
Arnold
got it, you know?
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, just dress them like Wesley Snipes in this movie and you're good to go.
Yeah, imagine Pacino dressed like that. It'd be amazing. Bright orange jumpsuit with overalls.
Be great.
Just like Chucky from Child's Play.
Now you're talking.
Should we talk about the virtual reality lovemaking?
I mean, if you want to, if that's what you feel like this conversation.
I don't really know what to say about it. It's pretty weird.
Sorry,
that I do remember very vividly too when I was younger. It was just so weird.
It was like a nightmare. Like it wasn't even like pleasurable, but like, oh, I don't get to touch you. It was just like weird flashes. It was like he was having a fever dream.
She had a good time though. She was really into it. Oh, I do think Sandra Bullock in the last act of the movie, she has incredible clothes, and I kept talking about it. You guys were very uninterested, but she has the coolest, most 2016 gear in that last half, or where she's just wearing high waisted jeans and a big leather jacket, like a bomber jacket of leather. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty good in this.
What? So in the underground garage where John meets Edgar, the word low-fast is seen scrawled. Hello?
You're breaking up a bit.
Here.
Still?
I think you sound fine to me.
Okay. In the underground garage where John meets Edgar, the word low-fast is seen scrawled on an overhead air duct. This is a Hungarian swear word meaning horse penis that was famously spoken by Edward James Olmos in Blade Runner. That's crazy though, because he stole this movie from a Hungarian. Yeah,
all coming together.
I think the Hungarian has a really good case after hearing that.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to believe him until I found out that they wrote horse penis in Hungarian on the wall. Because why would they do that?
Yeah,
that just seems like they're rubbing it in that guy's face.
Yeah, so to speak.
Do you guys remember the pinball for this movie?
What?
Of course.
Pinball machine? It's like a big one, right? It's like an iconic one. It's like that and like the Addams Family and stuff.
I remember those things, but I don't remember this one specifically.
I
remember it. I never. Did you guys ever play pinball machines when you guys would go to arcades and stuff?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I never did. It seemed like a waste of money.
Well,
it kind of is.
Yeah, but it's just if you could spend a quarter on that or any other game, I would choose the other games. I had zero interest in pinball when I would go to those things because I'd never also had much coin, so I would have to be real judicious about it, and I would be nah, not worth whatever it costs to play that thing.
There's always that situation that comes up where you're in a place that only has pinball machines, though, like no arcade game.
Then I'd rather just save my quarters till I was in a better place. Just get a soda. It's much better.
Yeah.
Were you good at pinball machines?
I mean, no. I mean, they're just like any regular person would be at pinball.
Yeah, but there's a time in the world where people would be like really good at pinball machines, you know?
Yeah, like Nick said, you can call them wizards.
Pinball wizards, yeah.
Well, in Kuwait, the Arabic title of this movie was Rambo the Destroyer.
What?
The idea being Rambo movies were very popular. Sylvester Stallone was Rambo, so you have his name in the title, and that would sell more tickets. That'd be very confusing, though, if you were a Kuwaiti citizen that was like going to see this movie thinking it had anything to do with Rambo.
Well, the thing is, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you go there and they just call him Rambo in the movie instead. It's like, oh, okay, I can see it. So
but Rambo wasn't a cop.
Franchise. Well, you know, after he came back from the war, he wanted to, well, I'd say settle down, but he didn't really settle down, did he?
Back then, though, like, cops were just portrayed as Rambo. Like, they're just, like, one-man, like, kill it, like, you know, one-man armies kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different concept of what police were capable of.
There were definitely points where it felt like almost like self-parody, like with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the other thing that really stuck out in this movie were the cars were fucking awesome, right? Like they looked crazy, and I remember like when we were watching, I kept pointing out like, yo, how do they have the money to have these incredible like car designs when like so much of the movie outside of that looks very cheap, you know? Like whenever there's fight scenes, they're very controlled like stages or like, you know, sound stage sets.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You know, some of them look okay, but the cars were so next level. Apparently, they were all prototypes that were supplied by General Motors for like cars that they thought like down the line, this is what we're gonna make.
Yeah.
So yeah, General Motors like gave them a bunch of like future cars to like fuck around with.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass of them.
Pretty amazing.
Only two modern day GM vehicles were seen in the film, and that's the Oldsmobile and the Buick Skylark.
Some of those designs took off.
Yeah, and sadly, no. Whoa. Apparently there was a rumored sequel.
Oh.
Demolition Man 2. And it would take place after this film, which John Spartan and Lenina Huxley would have married, and Jackie Chan would play the main antagonist, replacing Wesley Snipes. Dude, that would have been fucking awesome.
That's a dream project.
Also, wait, she
sounds
is
like
playing
fan fiction.
herself because she mentions Jackie Chan in the movie.
Yeah, but that's fine. I think they also mentioned some Sylvester Stallone stuff too, right? Like Rambo.
Yeah, there was a reference. There was a reference to Rambo.
Rambo's a fictional character.
Which is crazy because the Kuwaitis thought they were watching a movie about that guy.
Yeah. Well, it would have been very that one would have been very confusing.
I would be like, why are they talking about Rambo like he's not this guy that I'm watching right here?
Yeah.
But they would have said all that in Arabic because they're in Kuwait.
Right.
So yeah, there was the sequel didn't happen, obviously. There was a prequel written long ago and was thought to flop. It was never made. In the prequel, those are times of John Spartan going after Simon Phoenix. Yeah. I don't know how much I trust that information, seeing how it like really fell apart in the end there. Like whoever wrote this was like fucking tweaking. This trivia just says Simon Phoenix has 2 different colored eyes. Yep.
Oh.
It's true.
Oh, didn't even notice.
Something to think about.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty good trivia bit. So, yeah, you guys got anything else? Like, what are we doing here?
You got any other notes on there, Tamara?
I have a bunch of notes that are very like random and scattered. There's no like
perfect
or like through line through it.
Yeah,
I do remember I do remember saying early in the movie, because the movie opens like with him going after Phoenix, like their final like climactic battle, and like he destroys the thing, and they find some dead bodies, which you find out later that he planted them. They were already dead to begin with. So like he gets thrown in the cryogel with Phoenix. That was one of the more unbelievable parts of the movie. Like, this police officer like actually facing like, you know, up to some consequences.
Oh yeah. Unlike today, like if that happened today, they would just be like, well, we don't know, like we don't want to indict this cop because, you know, he is still a cop, so I'm just gonna let him go. No big deal.
I feel like Phoenix like
done.
You know, like the pain as the bad guy in the situation. I feel like, you know, like there's not like really a lot of work to do there.
There is a lot of messaging where like Simon Phoenix like hates the fucking police, and like I wonder when this movie came out, like how many, you know, like people like inner cities and shit were like, you know what, fuck that, fuck Sylvester Stallone. They were like actively rooting for Simon Phoenix.
Yeah,
it was like that could easily just twist the other way, where he's just like this ruthless cop that has like that like practiced a lot of police brutality. Like when he fights the Dennis Leary people, he's talking about killing them for stealing pizza toppings and shit.
Would this have been around the time of like the LA riots and stuff? Like what year was that?
A couple years earlier, but the police brutality was happening at the same time.
I know that. Yeah. But I just, you know, that was obviously like a really big thing.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way, NWA Fuck the Police came out in 1988. So there was still like a few years, you know, like a solid 5 years.
People weren't mad at the police until then.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like we had already expressed that like a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Like people were already really frustrated with the police and talking about it big time.
Yeah, it is weird. Like he's depicted, like Sylvester Stallone's character is depicted kind of a lunatic in the beginning. Like it's kind of like deserved, even though it turned out to be false. So we find out he's just like, I mean, like he has they call him the Demolition Man. He's just like constantly destroying property, like just like no like concern for anything. He just like does anything to get like to accomplish his goal.
He has a lot of rage issues.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone.
Like they try to paint him as the reasonable like middle ground by the end of the movie, but I feel like he was probably more of a problem than Dennis Leary.
Yeah, it's pretty problematic, his whole character, because he also like knocks out Sandra Bullock for no apparent reason. Like he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna go do this on my own. Doesn't really talk to her about it. Just like knocks her out, and then at the end she's like, oh yeah, thank you for that. She's like, what the fuck?
Well, she was being sarcastic though.
Sandra Bullock's dress, by the way, that she wore in the Taco Bell scene weighed 40 fucking pounds. She's the real hero of this movie, guys.
She's America's sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sandy Bullock.
What's that?
Sandy Bullock. Just giving her a shout out, you know.
Was this like in universe to the Miss Congeniality movies you're saying?
Yeah, I believe so. It's canon, right?
Yeah, because they reunited for Miss Congeniality in 2000. Which, by the way, this movie, I think, is the first one that we've discussed that passes the Villalobos test, because Benjamin Bratt is Latino, but more specifically, he's very, very Mexican in a number of movies, so I give people like that a pass all time. I think he's actually, like, you know, some other, like, Salvadorian or whatever. But he was in Blood and Blood Out.
So.
He was in Blood and Blood Out.
Yeah. That's right.
What was the first movie we watched?
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
We never did any Mexicans in that movie. We never did a Hackers episode, right? That was like just.
No, we just watched that for enjoyment.
Just for fun, yeah. What a crazy idea.
There has been like an accidental like through line of just hacking in these movies so far.
It's no accident.
No.
It's no accident.
I get it. It sounds like that.
By the way, guys, in the retrospective of his filmography, Dennis Leary called this film a giant piece of shit. Well, he didn't really help matters.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
If anybody brought this movie down, it was probably Dennis Leary, like more than anyone else. So, like, if
movies Dennis Leary's been in.
Must have been hard for him to be in it for those couple of scenes that he's in and get paid all that money.
Yeah. I think the lucrative like Taco Bell money.
maybe if the leader of his like revolution wasn't so unlikable, like they would have actually like got more accomplished, you know?
Yeah.
Because like as it is, like yeah, Benjamin Bratt joins them, but that's only because like they save his life. Otherwise, it was like really hard to get people that weren't like dirty fucking hobos.
And Jack Black.
Yeah, like Jack Black. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how Operation Dumbo Drop figures into his filmography.
Oh, it's a great movie. He says it's brilliant.
I'm just now going through his filmography. Just to live up to his iconic role in Crank Yankers.
I mean, what would, you know?
That's a good point.
In fact, like, has he done any good movies?
He's
I
had to
can't
have,
think of a single.
right?
Must be one just in there by accident, right?
He had to have. Look, I
What do you
can't
think? But you're on his biography. Is there any good ones there?
Let's see.
Or his filmography?
Let's see.
Was he not in like
Who's in those?
like a Ben Affleck movie or anything?
I think he's from Boston.
Yeah, because he's from Boston.
He's just in the
Oh,
back.
right. I wondered why you used that as an example of, like, a good movie.
Well, he was in Demolition Man. That's a pretty good movie. He was in.
Yeah, it's a good movie, yeah.
He was in The Sandlot. I don't know what he was in The Sandlot.
Oh, he was the shithead stepdad.
Okay. All right.
He's in Small Soldiers.
Yeah. 2 if I see. I don't know how that factors into your thing. I don't know what that is.
This podcast is now
He
just
was
us
in-
looking stuff up on IMDb.
I don't think this is the same movie as Subway Stories Tales from the Underground. Be like a
Yeah,
companion.
so the answer is no. He's never been in a good movie, so I don't know why he has such a.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Chip on his shoulder.
There's no like standout.
Well, he had to point that one out as being a bad one in particular. Maybe he's
I
just
feel
waiting
like-
to his Ice Age appearances.
Yeah, I know, right? Like he's
Yeah.
he's just shredding on
Like,
us.
the Ice Age movies are really my passions. Like that's
But
where I
feel,
really shine.
I feel like 20 years from now, he'll probably be like, oh, those Ice Age movies are huge pieces of crap. Like, I think after a certain amount of time has passed, you can just say that, and that way no one says, like, oh, man, he's in that really crap movie.
Absolutely. There's a
I
lot
know
of
Dennis Hopper famously shit on like the Mario ones,
well, fair enough.
but at the time, you know, I bet he thought that movie was kind of
More
fire.
Ice Age stuff than I realized. Got Ice Age 2 The Meltdown. Ice Age The Meltdown, which is listed separately. Ice Age Dawn of Dinosaurs. Lost historical films on the Ice Age period. Ice Age A Mammoth Christmas. Ice Age Continental Drift. Ice Age Continental Drift Arctic Games. Ice Age Village.
Some of those he's credited for video games, by the way.
What?
Some of those are like video games and like
Well, it's
shorts.
And any of those two criminals get frozen and thawed out again?
I'm sure at some point they started to run out of ideas.
It'd be great.
Maybe in Ice Age the Great Eggscapade, you know, like an egg. It's pretty clever.
I think there's more time devoted to a fictional like depiction of the Ice Age with Dennis Leary than the actual Ice Age at a certain point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I laughed.
Okay. It was disappointing that they weren't able to get Ice Cube to make a cameo in this movie.
Oh, I thought you were.
Yeah.
I thought you were still on Ice Age.
I kind of wanted to see
too.
Ice-T's character from Johnny Mnemonic.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name again?
I can't remember.
Something ridiculous.
I have it right here. It's J-Bone.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
I also have Jane/bitch.
Whoa. Oh, that's from the.
Because they kept calling her a bitch in that movie.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie, by the way, has had the most solid until Sylvester Stallone unceremoniously knocks her out for no reason. Like, this had the best depiction of women, like she was competent, she did her job, you know what I mean? She was enthusiastic, like she wasn't an idiot for the most part. Like, she messed up phrases, but that's not bad. But compare that to Johnny Mnemonic or the Ninja Turtles movie. Like, Sandra Bullock has the leg up, eh?
It's true. There was no. Well, I was gonna say there was no giant mutant that wanted to have sex with her in this movie, but that's not true.
What? What'd you say? You said there was no something that wanted to have sex in this movie, but I couldn't hear what you said.
Hey, there was no giant mutant that wanted to have sex with her in this movie.
Yeah, there was.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Biggest mutant of all.
Yeah.
He was roided out of his mind in that movie.
Oh yeah.
He was so goddamn strong.
Man. He was peaking for sure, right? Like, that was peak Stallone.
Because he knew that he was going to be naked in that cryogenic chamber, so he's like, I just want so many steroids in my body right now. That way I look ripped.
Yeah.
Dude, he did.
Yeah.
And everybody's wearing kimonos, and he specifically had custom ones with his arms ripped off so he could show off the guns.
Guns,
at all times.
Yeah. He didn't rip the sleeves off. The sleeves just ripped off.
Well,
I imagine he's a master seamstress. Yeah, so he could have just
he modified it.
Yeah, he could have just made the adjustments.
He was really hung up on that.
I'd be pretty bummed too, but I would just look at the bright side. I was really hoping, by the way, at some point in that movie they would use that, his seamstress skills would save the day in some way.
Yeah.
Cause that's what you would do now in a movie, is you would have that tie all in.
Yeah.
But in that, they just throw that out there and they never establish it.
Yeah.
I really wonder what the budget of this movie was, because it seemed like such a weird movie for them to spend so much money on, right?
I don't know. The 90s. I feel like this is what they were all about.
I feel like it's even strange for the 90s. 57 million is how much they spent on that.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it is, especially for them, I think, too. Made $159.1 million. So it made about $102 million back in profit. That's crazy. It's a good day.
Just think about
you know how I spent $3 on that movie? It was on HBO Go.
Oh, you fucked up. Got ripped off.
Yeah, I paid $10 for that a month. Played myself. All right, guys. You want to start wrapping this up?
Yeah. Unless there's anything else you want to say about Demolition Man.
I don't know. There's much left about Demolition Man.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered the whole movie. And then some,
Absolutely. We got the backstory.
So, on a scale of 1 to 7, what do you give it?
It's a toughie, because I used to love it, but watching it this time, it's a different thing. But I think maybe a 5 out of 7.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's pretty good.
I think that's where I'm at. As far as it's not a great movie, but it was entertaining enough. It looked kind of nice for what it was. And,
I was going to give it a 4,
but
I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to go with the group. Average 5 out of. What's that?
It's very generous. You might even say magnanimous.
Magnanimous, yeah. That's my key trait.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're right. It's not a great movie, but there are enough enjoyable moments to get you through it.
Yeah.
mainly Benjamin Bratt and Sandra Bullock. I feel like they have a lot of chemistry.
I feel
No
like
wonder they got him back for Miss Congeniality.
I feel like this was like the beginning of a lot of like iconic duos in the '90s. You had those two. You had Sylvester Stallone and what's his face?
Muscles and steroids.
You got that?
Oh yeah, him and Snyder. You're right.
Yeah.
Dennis Leary and Smug Condescension.
There you go. It was a pretty good decade for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, let's go ahead and just end this, guys.
Alrighty.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
I think I'm good.
I'm done. I don't ever want to talk about Demolition Man again.
Yeah, look us up on Twitter at our respective Twitter handles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so goodbye.
So we won't tell you what they are. Just you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Well, listen.
You do the math.
I gave you guys enough of a breath for you to say what they were. You just stood there.
I figured if Ramon was talking, I figured he would say his, but I'm at
Everybody knows.
I'm trying to do the thing now. I'm at T-Von Villain. Come on, Nate. Go ahead.
Mine is at Nick underscore sketch.
Yeah, mine's at Ramon Villalobos.
There you go.
Spelled like it's pronounced, you know? Don't get it fucked up. All right. So yeah, follow us, you know, buy all the comics that we make. And yeah, be safe out there in these streets.